Hello, my name is Dory Duncan, and I'm very excited to join you in this class. I have been searching career profiles, and in the last 6 months have made such strides in trying to figure out what the Lord wants me to do in this new phase of my life. I spent 20 years as a daycare provider, and I've worked as a preschool teacher, and I've homeschooled my children, and I've worked teaching at the co-op schools that my children have attended in the private schools, and so I always thought I would be working with children. But as I get farther into our exciting opportunities afforded by our career as a family learning educator, I'm finding all sorts of things that I didn't know existed before. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about one of the profiles that I chose to look into more. I want to do marriage and parenting classes. That's what I'd like to teach. And when I think teaching, I think more along the lines of being a mentor and mentoring. And my degree is going to allow me to do that. I had a really hard time finding a job. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to create it. I'm going to have to be an entrepreneur and go out there and do some creating for myself. But for this assignment, I came up with a nonprofit organization that worked with me when I was a daycare provider. It was called Northwest Family Services, and they do all sorts of different things in the community to build families and children. And so I went to their job openings and found that they have an opening for a prevention educator. And they're located here in Portland, Oregon. They serve the greater Portland area, so Portland, the city, and then all of the suburbs around Portland. They're a very large company. They've got hundreds of employees that work for them. They're paid by the state on contract. They work with donations. They're constantly looking for volunteers to help with the programs. It's a very worthwhile place to work. The people that I worked with from Northwest Families seemed very happy and content in their work situation, so that really recommends the company to me. As a prevention educator, I would be, so the working environment would be good. I would be actually going into middle schools and working on a project that would educate children and help middle schoolers delay perhaps the age that they have sexual relations with other children. And the goal of that being to stop teenage pregnancies, to avert the health crisis, and of course, from my own personal point of view, when a child is sexually active, it's spiritually and physically destructive. So I really like the idea of being able to work in a field of abstinence, where they're teaching abstinence. And I live in Portland, Oregon, very, 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 very liberal place. So I was really excited when I saw this program. Some of the stressors one of the reasons why I picked this job, even though it may not be what I would actually want to do, is that because I would be working in the middle schools, I would be creating the actual program. I would be making sure the program went through. I would be teaching youth. I would try to recruit youth educators because there's so much power in children teaching their peers. So I would try to get peers that would be willing to turn around and mentor their peers in the same subject. So I would be responsible for recruiting them, training them, making sure, getting them into places where they can actually do the mentoring. I would have to create these relationships with the schools, with the principals, with the counselors. I'd have to be a presence. They want someone who's going to be a presence, who's going to be able, in my interpretation, to show love and to show interest, and to let them know that people are there and people that care, and that this is important, and this is important to the children. So some of the stressors would be that it would require missing family time. So because it's middle schoolers, I would be working in I would have evenings and I would have weekends, and where I would actually need to work. And because my youngest son is about to leave home in the next 2 years to go on his mission, he'll leave before I graduate. My husband works for Intel, and he is definitely could work later hours. We could change our schedule around once our children are gone. So we feel like to be able to serve the community and in some sort of project along these lines, that's something that as a couple we can work around, and we would be willing to sacrifice traditional hours together. It would be non-traditional work hours. The benefits weren't explained, and they weren't an issue for me because I'm going to be a grandma. So my plan is to work part-time, and my husband has a very good job at this point, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. The common job tasks, we already talked about that. The educational requirements. For this job, I'd have to have my BA or BS. And I would need to have 1 year experience working with adolescents, which I have plenty of experience working with adolescents. I could do that in a heartbeat. It also would like someone that's bilingual, and that's something that I'm working on, is learning Spanish. So that would be something that I would need to continue to put more time and effort into. The starting salary range is $2,600 a month. The experience salary range is $27,000, so there's not a lot of difference there. And again, this is not the ideal job for me. My brother is creating a nonprofit, and in that nonprofit, I hope to be able to teach the parenting and the marriage courses to people that are military families, to help build military families and support them. So I'm really excited to see where this takes me. I'm excited to see your videos, and I hope you learned a little something from mine.